So we are basically an MSME. I want to talk to you about in my opinion, when we run MSMEs, are high value resources, and how we optimize and maximize those resources, and how we are doing that, and then you can see how this adds up to you. So basically, we are in automotive components, we're in solar energy, and we have a group that focuses on innovation, and we call it special projects. And then we have a small division that works on robotics, and I'll quickly take you through those products. So we have, this is our autonomous solar panel cleaner. Basically, India has pretty large plans to set up solar plants, but as you know, we're also a very dusty country, and dust has to be cleaned off the panels, otherwise you lose generation. So we have an autonomous robot. That means it navigates like an autonomous car. It finds its way to the panels, cleans it up, and comes back home to its docking station. We have a concentrated solar thermal solution, amongst the most efficient in the world. It generates heat at a price lower than coal, so quite attractive, and has been well recognized. And we're exporting this to Europe, Japan, and the US. Of course, a lot of it is being sold in India. And then we enable zero liquid discharge through our evaporator. So a lot of focus in India is now on not polluting our water bodies. And most industries, as you probably have experienced, dump their waste into water bodies. And zero liquid discharge means you don't put any polluted liquid out. So you dry it off to salt, and that's what our evaporator does. So what are the key resources for MSMEs? In my opinion, it's ideas. When you have to have a business idea, which then you attract people who believe in that idea and help you get it off the ground. And of course, to make all this happen, when you have a good idea and you have good people, you attract the money to make it happen also. So, and all MSMEs by nature have a few good people, and there's a lot of people who support these good people to make the idea happen and deliver value to our customers. And what I believe is important resources in an MSME is our time to create ideas that add to growth. And that means we need time to think, we need time to interact with the outside world, we need some time to experiment and see what works and what doesn't. And of course, then you have a few good people, so you have to make sure that these people spend their times on things that matter and don't get stuck in the mundane. No, so, and we of course face this problem. I mean, we are a growing company. We have a few good people, and as you grow, the problems grow. And if they don't get solved at lower levels, then they all come up to your table and suck up a lot of valuable time. And what we were thinking is, how do we prevent these problems from happening, and how do we enable our people to solve these problems without a lot of effort on training and hiring skilled people, because it's difficult. And so what we found out is that, first of all, to solve any problem, and I'm talking here mostly about manufacturing, is that there is not enough data, and certainly not all the data comes to you in one go in a proper way for you to analyze and come up with an understanding of the situation. And that is tied to not having capable people, and not having enough people with the capability to do what is required. And thirdly, even if you solve the problem, to manage to make sure it's implemented properly and monitor it is also difficult, especially in manufacturing. And my experience is this has not changed a lot over several years. And as you know, in India, manufacturing is not a very, how should I say, desired vocation. Most people would like to go and work in an IT company. So the level of talent that comes to manufacturing is also decreasing. So when we said let's find what is available in the market to kind of automate a lot of this data gathering, just bring data together, do the basic analysis which can be automated, uh, and to address the whole range of problems we face. And then of course, it should be something that a company of our size can afford to pay for, and we couldn't find it. So we were lucky, we were able to find a set of people who worked with us, and we built our own solution. And that's something I want to describe and also explain to you the difficulties in implementing, and how we managed to make the cost something that we could swallow. So most people that we talked to had two or three components to their solution. They had the software, which was heavily priced. Then they had an implementation part, which was even equally heavily priced. And then third was the integration of of our legacy systems to this software. So to take the data from, for example, our PLCs and translate it to come together on a database and then to analyze it, nobody was helping us do all three things. And you ended up with three different people, and it becomes even contractually difficult to sign up an agreement. So we started building our own thing, and our first step was, of course, just let's get data together and let's look at everything that goes into our manufacturing process. Every sensor that has an input or an output, we pulled that data out and gathered it in a central location. And of course, when you have all this data, then it's very easy to automate certain rules-based supervision. No? So if this sensor reading goes out of this level, then you send an alert to a person. If it goes beyond a certain other level, you send it to a higher level person, and so on. And so we had a lot of data that was crunched, and we had alerts. And then we also added, and it was quite surprisingly simple to add vision to it. So if you have an operator working on a workstation, and he's doing a certain operation, he's picking up something, he's putting it in a place, doing an operation to keep it there, whatever, he does some things, we were able to introduce a very simple camera and follow his movements and make sure that he's doing it right. If he didn't do it right, then we could detect it and then help the person find out what he's doing wrong and make sure he's trained to do it right. And this means when we have some turnover in our workforce, and for example, when COVID happened, a lot of our workforce went back home, and we had to add new people. This helped in quickly training and making sure that they don't make mistakes when they're new on the job. And of course, once you have the data aggregation and you have all of it flowing into a central place, then you can use AI and see patterns, and you can fold that pattern back to either a design or a process improvement that prevents defects from happening in manufacturing. So we built all this, and surprisingly, it's not very expensive to deploy. And the most difficult part, which was making data flow from legacy PLCs to your computer database, we simplified with a plug and play device, which you can attach to a assembly line and just get it to flow. It's not plug and play yet, but not as hard as it was when we started. So the next few slides basically go through our, in more detail what we actually implemented in our plant. And I don't know, Amit, how much time we have. Based on how much time we have, I can go in more detail or leave the presentation with you to share with whoever is interested.
Prakash, we have a few minutes.
So maybe 5 more minutes, I think we can.
Okay, so then let me come quickly to maybe a small video of how the thing works. So then you just see what happens. So yeah, so this one might. So basically we have a dashboard. We have in our factory, every customer we supply to and every line we make things on is centrally available. That means I can sit anywhere in the world and see what's going on in my factory. I can zero down to every station and see what's happening. If there is a defect on a certain station at a certain time, I can go and see which parts had the defect and so on. But this little video, and I'm not sure that you will follow everything, but it will give you a flavor of what's going on. So regardless of the mechanics of what I present to here, the point I'm trying to make to you is my time has been freed up substantially. That means the time I used to spend to understand what's going on because data was not easily available has disappeared. I mean, the amount of time that I spend on solving problems has come down because when data is available, it's surprising how easily other people can also solve those problems. And finally, because we have all these alerts, we don't need we don't need supervision. A lot of the supervision is automated. So where we had 3 supervisors in a hall, we now require 1. And that one person is effective because he also doesn't have to, how should I say, do a lot of work. A lot of the work is done automatically. So in terms of whether there's an ROI or not, I think of course it depends on the size of the enterprise and the cost of the solution. In my opinion, the ROI is very good because the value of senior management time in an MSME is very valuable, and you can spend your time fixing a 10 lakh problem or pursuing a 100 crore opportunity. And as you will say, always the 100 crore opportunity is going to be more valuable than the problem which you have to solve and will need your attention because other people are not properly resourced. So basically, in my opinion, the idea and senior management time in an MSME is the most valuable resource. Generally, most MSMEs are driven by founders, and they bring in the vision and the energy to grow the company. And if it's not used fully, then like it was said a few minutes ago, then the MSME will never get out of that, how should I say, small enterprise, medium enterprise situation and become large. So I don't know if you saw everything that happened in that small video, but basically we have extreme granularity in what we measure, and a lot of that data is automatically analyzed and presented. And right now what we're focusing on is getting that data and tying it to prediction, to improving design and improving process. This means I can say, for example, it's like if you have a kid in 2nd standard who's good in math and bad in art, then you can surely predict he's not going to be an artist. But if he's good in both, maybe there's a probability that he will become an artist. And if you see him good in art in 12th standard, then he's more likely to be an artist. So, but knowing it in 2nd standard means you can do a lot more to make the child achieve his full potential. And I think our system, my experience with it is that the earlier you see problems, the quicker and with less impact you can fix it. And therefore you have more time available for the more productive and growth oriented, how should I say, projects.